This is, I almost said WrestleMania again. Royal Rumble 2024, brother.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
one for the fans.
Right. For all the diehards out there.
Yeah, the day ones.
Yeah, dude.
This is the Royal Rumble review that will see the light of day.
Yeah. So, in the famous words of Triple H, are you ready?
I said, are you ready?
Yes, let's get into it. So, I guess we can start that off with a question from me to you. How have you felt about the hypeness of the Royal Rumble going into the event? Because I think for me, I think that it's hasn't been as hype as it has in previous years, in my opinion. But I'd like to get your thoughts.
You know, this is one of those sections that I was going to let you kind of tell me about it a little bit because, I don't really keep up with the weekly shows that much. I see the highlights on YouTube. I'm one of those type of fans until they bring Raw to Netflix. I don't even have an easy way to watch it in my house right now. But what do you think? I
So,
mean, you be watching those.
yeah, I do. And I'm a little bit more in tune with the weekly shows. And from that standpoint, I would say that just to kind of break down the general synopsis is I feel like a lot of what's happened on the weekly shows has been more self-contained. And what I mean by that is it's been a lot of storylines that has just been applicable to the weekly shows themselves and not necessarily anything that really felt like it was playing into the Royal Rumble itself, with a few exceptions. So let's start with the U.S. title match. Logan Paul, ever since he beat Rey Mysterio for the title, they've been trying to figure out who his next challenger is going to be. And then they had that whole storyline with going through the U.S. title tournament where they had a bunch of people competing. And then we know that KO basically ran through the whole tournament and ended up winning. So that's how he earned his title shot. Mixed in with all of that, we've still had Logan Paul for a long time during the tournament. Logan Paul wasn't even on the show. And then he kind of showed up like right before, the last few weeks before the Rumble itself. Then he kind of like popped up, like, to try to build anticipation for the match and all that. But I feel like this is kind of like the theme that I'm really talking about is that this will probably be a running theme is that it didn't feel like the build up for me didn't feel special in that, this could be like any other match build up that you would see on any other weekly show. It didn't feel like pay-per-view special or I'm sorry, premium live event special. It's kind of like a running theme. So a lot of the similarities with the Romans championship match. You had a very similar build up. Well, not similar in that didn't feel all that special, right? It felt like normal weekly show stuff, not a build up to the live event stuff, the premium event stuff. So so like you said, it was like we already know that Roman has been holding a stranglehold on that championship and the championship picture on SmackDown. And then you saw a lot, like you said, Randy Orton just recently came back since the Elimination Chamber. He's had his sights set on getting payback on Roman. AJ Styles was put on the shelf due to injury because of the bloodline. Has come back to get payback. We already know LA Knight didn't get the job done at the Crown Jewel, so now he's looking for a rematch. But I mean, a lot of these things are, just regular old build up. What didn't feel like it's just like a bunch of people that's like, oh, I need to have my next shot at the bloodline or at the championship or whatever. And then as far as the Royal Rumble matches are concerned, it's been a lot of, people that are just basically declaring for the Rumble. There hasn't been a whole lot of, more intricate stories or any other type of storytelling. And this is where I wanted to kind of compare to the build up from this year compared to last year because there was actually a lot more that I feel like that may have been going on last year that they didn't do this year. Like you said, Sami Zayn and the you know the honorary Oos bloodline storyline that was going on last year that hit so well. So we could kind of see that they didn't have a whole lot of that going on this year. It was just just regular stuff. So just to kind of give a synopsis on that part.
Yeah, I feel you, and I think the way that they have the championships distributed right now with two kind of less active champions on one side, the celebrity social media kind of titles that don't appear on a show that often,
Yeah,
especially in contrast to the heavyweight title and the intercontinental title.
yeah,
It makes it feel a little bit like when you have that stark contrast right there on the other side of the same show, and makes it feel even worse sometimes that some of these people aren't around to build their own storylines.
yeah, true.
But they sell the tickets for the premium live events, so
Yeah,
we gotta deal with it, as might also be relevant to the matches and the way they turned out.
right. One other thing I wanted to mention was that there were a lot of, and then this was another thing that I wanted to mention about people declaring for the Royal Rumble is that there were a lot of people out there that were biting off of Cody Rhodes's finish the story deal. People like Shinsuke Nakamura. People like Drew McIntyre. Even people like CM Punk, who came back and was talking about how they never got to finish their stories to the way they wanted to. So there were a lot of people like that declaring, I think, both on the men's and women's side, that were kind of like just, biting off of Cody, so to speak. So I wanted to kind of mention that part too, instead of, trying to tell a more unique type of story you know I just got to finish my story, that type of thing. It's kind of like the new pointing to the WrestleMania sign. They got to finish their story. This it's kind of like almost made it like a running joke almost.
Yeah, it's I was literally thinking, actually, the fact that it's become a meme is not even lost on them themselves, because Cody mentioned it in the interview after the show.
Yeah,
Like, it's like everybody's got a story to finish. They gotta finish the damn story. Like, he's just seems exhausted by it. It's like their new tagline for this WrestleMania season slash the last year almost since the
yeah,
last Royal Rumble. So
and yeah, I think as far as the build up deal, I think that encapsulates the build up to the Royal Rumble so well, is that it feels like it was a waste to not have more stories to tell in the Rumble, other than people, a whole litany of people trying to finish the story, so to speak.
yeah, there's just not enough else going on. Is Cody gonna finish his story, or is CM Punk gonna finish his story? And
Yeah,
28 other people are there also.
right.
That's cool too. That's kind of, yeah. This
Yeah,
was
it
a
is.
rumble about two people, which at least it was about two people. That's more than one
Yeah,
and more than zero. So
yeah. And then the other thing that I was hoping would have happened too, that didn't end up happening, was that I was hoping that the champions would have actually played more of a role in the Rumble, which we didn't really end up seeing. I'll probably mention that, but I will mention that when we talk about the men's Royal Rumble. But I had a theory of what might have happened that didn't end up happening.
okay,
But yeah, I'll circle back to that when we get to the men's Rumble match specifically.
okay. Then yeah, the women's Royal Rumble was the first event, the first match of the night.
The first notable event for me was the surprise return of Naomi. That'd be the first thing I'd probably want to comment on.
Yeah, which was
And she
super
made a
cool.
right, right, and she made a major return, major impact in this Rumble. I thought.
Impact, indeed.
Ah.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear her music because like I was showing up late for the event and was like listening to it, and I was like, wait a second, am I supposed to be hearing her music right now? Wait a second. And man, the crowd was into it too.
Yeah.
They had a nice like the welcome back chants and everything, like so we kicked it off on a pretty good note there. Yeah, I guess we're past the oh you were with a different company, we're about to make you look like a joke time of thing, like they did back in the WCW invasion type of days.
Oh boy.
But we're in a new era now.
Yeah. Bailey came in number three, and then I feel like this will kind of get me into damage control. And without jumping ahead too much, I would say that I feel like damage control's presence in this match could have been bigger, but I feel like what ended up happening later was good enough.
Yeah, I wanted to see Asuka and Kyrie, do more because I just like them a lot. Yeah, I thought it would be kind of more storyline ish, I guess, with like in the match itself. But that portion of the storyline, I guess, came after the show.
Yeah.
I don't know because I guess they could have written it in a different way where there was like some kind of there was tension between them like in the match itself or something. But I think they'll get that later if they need to.
Right, right.
I did want to mention Jordan Grace coming in the TNA champion from the other promotion. Speaking
Yeah.
of having other promotions coming in and not looking crazy,
Yeah.
this is pretty new territory that they come in and talk about um talk about other companies, right, at all, let alone having their whole champion coming in for the Royal Rumble. It's always nice to see them like respecting the rest of the industry.
Yeah. Kind of a new thing for WWE.
Yeah, this might be that this might be that new creative Triple H influence right there because
Yeah, new
this
era.
I follow Jordan Grace a little bit on Twitter already, so I was very surprised to see her, and I was very happy to see her, and she's jacked. She looks great, and she looked good in the match. They let her come in. They had the Royal Rumble entrance install. You get the boost. You have your X Factor activated. I was pretty into the level of some of the superstars that they had in here, man. I think not to say that I just like have my expectations be much less. And I think it helps so that they're not like bringing in a bunch of like celebrity old people that can't wrestle anymore, and here comes somebody who's like 55 years old and hasn't been in the ring since 1996, and cool
Huh.
to see them, but they don't know how to do a spot anymore and they have to literally get carried through their whole match. Since there was a lot less of that and we pretty much only had like actual like active people,
Yeah.
the quality of the match was a lot better overall, I think. And I was like, I don't know if my expectations were just lower, but I was like, you know i I liked this. I like, as far as the match itself, just the match, like it was pretty good.
The one that early competitor, or I guess earlier, Bianca, she did pretty well. I would say had a pretty decent showing throughout the match. Other ones like Naya, Becky, and then especially Jade Cargill.
Jade, yeah, especially, I mean, as far as Bianca, I think that was like, I will say that I think that's like the most, her interaction that I had the most hype for sure. I mean, I want to see them do stuff. I don't know if it's gonna be like a rivalry. I mean, imagine if they were like a tag team. Either way, seeing them work together is going to be pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. It remains to be seen, especially when we're trying to figure out exactly what Jade's character is going to be, whether she'll be face or heel, or how that's going to play out.
Right.
Speaking of Jade Cargill, we also need to take note of her and Naya. I mean, that was a pretty big deal. Jade being able to eliminate Naya single handedly. That was pretty crazy.
Let me tell you something, brother. Uh, the way that Jade Cargill debuted in this match was, I don't have like the stats to say this is like one of the best Royal Rumble debuts, but it certainly was a very good one. I'd have to go check the record books to see the last Royal Rumble like matches that were as impressive, but I think the way that, because Naya had one of those this superhero moments where she comes out, Neo busting out of the pile of agents or whatever,
Yeah,
and then having that happen, and then having Jade come in and put her over the rope, and it was still like, and I still actually like that it was like she was able to like lift her, by herself and everything. Not, I mean, after like, she just came out and already like looked really good, putting over the rope, and Naya, she came off and she landed on her feet and everything. So it wasn't like she was just like put her to like just ended her career in one move or anything. So it wasn't like Naya just looked like she was pathetic,
yeah,
but it still made Jade look really good. The reaction to her putting Naya over the top rope right there. Speaking of which. That's
yeah,
they pan to the side, seeing Becky's face, and then they go to the other camera, and you see Pat McAfee's face back there,
yeah.
and then eliminating the next two after that. Who was it? Becky and Naomi, wasn't it? Oh,
Oh, I guess one other thing I should say, I wanted to make a quick note about Becky.
yeah,
Becky didn't really have as big of a rumble as I would have expected, honestly. I mean, she had a presence in the match, but it wasn't really she didn't really have like a huge moment. You know what I mean?
yeah. It's seems like it wasn't really her time
Yeah,
to shine. Well, not like have the whole steal the show or anything,
right.
which I guess is fine. I mean, there's only so many stories that you can emphasize,
Yeah, true.
and but yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, Becky had a showing, but it wasn't like a highlight performance necessarily. And I kind of yeah, I don't know where she's going from here exactly. I don't know if she had any like rivalries, or if she's still gonna be trying to. I mean, because she was beefing with Naya before, and I don't know. The landscape is kind of hard to predict. I mean, not to get ahead to predictions or whatever, looking forward too much, but like with Jade Cargill Liv coming back, which I guess is another thing. She came back at number 30, which was pretty cool, I guess.
yeah,
Not the hypest number 30 that I've ever seen, but glad she's back, I guess.
right.
Not that I don't like her or anything. It's hard to compare the hypeness I have for Jade being there. If I sound unenthusiastic about Liv, it's mostly that. But I
Right,
mean, I,
right.
I, I like Liv. She's fine. But right now, clearly, like, Bailey is the story, right? And, uh, Naomi's back and Jade's here. So there's a lot of new stuff happening. So it's hard to see where exactly this is going to go. So I guess I should all that to say I'm not surprised. I guess that Becky didn't have like a crazy like story moment or anything. Maybe that'll just remain to be seen where we go with all these new people that are around or
Yeah,
returning people.
right, right. To kind of wrap it up, I guess we can, especially since you kind of alluded to it here, was just kind of getting back to like the close of the match, which is what was it, the final three or final four?
Yeah, I know the final three was Bailey and Liv and Jade.
And Jade, yeah.
They had the little end, which I always think is like important to how the match like goes, like the actual ending. I like you know, if they if they have a whole good match and they end on like a kind of a weak or weird note, then I feel like that kind of is a letdown. The finish is important. I think the finish was
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, and I think the other thing about that too is that I think the finish not only is important for the winner of the Rumble, obviously, but also would be a big thing for the runner-up too. And the fact that we saw, I think Jade was like the last out, wasn't she?
I think she got hit by Liv, did her little move or whatever to her
Okay.
first, and then Bailey kicked Liv out. So I think technically Liv was second or runner up.
Oh, okay. But yeah, as far as final three, I think this would probably mean that they're probably going to have huge momentum coming out of the Rumble here.
Yeah, it usually means good things for the runner up, especially, and I think also for the final four. Also, is usually like a good sign
Yeah,
for them for the coming months, and I think that'll pan out for this match too because I think they tend to. I feel like Liv tends to get booked pretty well. So I'm expecting her to be in some kind of important storyline pretty soon.
yeah, I could see
Obviously,
that.
big things for Jade. That kind of goes without saying. She had a very impressive highlight of the match. Personally, for me, it was just all the stuff that Jade did.
Yeah,
If second to anything, just the note of the actual winner of Bailey winning the whole thing.
right.
Which I'm happy for Bailey, to be honest. I like Bailey.
Yeah, I feel like too that of the different versions of Bailey we've seen over time, I feel like her damage control version of her is probably the best one.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like that's she's really come into her own with her time with the damage control.
yeah. This is better than just generally I'm a Karen and being obnoxious in general, Bailey.
Yeah,
So we're definitely improving from there also.
yeah, true.
But yeah, good stuff still though. I mean, I think I might still talk about Jade more despite the storyline. I can't wait to see what she does after this.
Oh yeah, definitely high expectations.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so I think with that we can go ahead and move on to the next match.
Yeah. Which was the Universal title match, right?
Yeah, I know we kind of touched on the build up to this match before, which is what I call the the blood people trying to get payback on Roman and the Bloodline fatal four way.
Yeah.
One thing I will say that I think before we get into the match itself, one thing I think is kind of a shame uh, is the fact that LA Knight, I feel like him being in this match was kind of a waste because I feel like his presence was sorely missed in the Rumble match itself, right? Because especially with the meteoric rise he had last year, so to see him miss the Royal Rumble and maybe possibly having a really good Royal Rumble run was kind of a shame.
I first I mean I see what you mean. For sure. He definitely could have been in there and made an impact. I think my take on it though is that I'm glad he got to make an impact somewhere in the card, even though it wasn't in the Rumble match itself, because I think it would have been it would have been fine to see him in the match and do well, but I think it's also fine enough to see him in this match and doing well also because I think it was like one of those things where it's like he's not going to win the Royal Rumble with like looking at the forward to the men's Royal Rumble, seeing Cody and Punk both in that Rumble match. I'm like, there's no way LA Knight's gonna get a victory. So I would only been able to hope to see him go in there and have a good match and do some cool stuff. Which
Yeah,
I'm fine seeing him do stuff in this match instead, personally.
Right.
With the story seemingly as locked in as it is for like it, I didn't know whether that Punk or Cody or whatever was going to win. I figured it'd be one of those two at least, but I figured, I didn't have any money on anyone else winning that match, so I think this is fine for personally for LA Knight. And I guess he did have a legitimate reason to be in the title match also. So it's, I mean, it's something to do. Maybe it's just a different whatever, but at least he was doing something tonight. Uh, or well, not tonight anymore, but at least he was doing something at the pay per view significant.
Yeah.
I think there'll be room for him in future rumbles. I mean, hopefully. I mean, like I said, he's not terribly young, but I think he's still got some years left in him for sure. So, still got some Slim Jim sponsorships to get and things like that. So we'll see. We'll see more from him.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily saying like it was a bad thing, but I was thinking that one of my early predictions to as a possible Rumble winner was LA Knight before he got into the title picture with Roman.
Yeah, we were talking about that a while ago. And I think this was like pre CM Punk return, maybe,
Yeah.
which I think kind of shook things up a little bit from all that. Because yeah, he became hard to bet against once he returned at what was it, Survivor Series?
Yeah. Survivor Series. War Games. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that would have it would have been cool, but there's just, I mean, they had the one. I mean, they have a story that they need to finish
Yeah.
as they've been saying. So I guess the less that gets in the way of that is fine with me for right now.
Yeah.
AJ Styles was also there.
Yeah. And I think I said this on the night we watched, but I'm still waiting for Dark AJ to emerge. I feel it in my bones that I think he's going to turn heel. I feel like with all of this plus the bad blood that he seems to be having with the OC. I'm I kind of feel like that's what it's kind of alluding to.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it hasn't really fully locked in yet. I think he needed to get past this because there's he's got his little oh yeah, I'm gonna punch LA Knight and stuff and have their little stuff going on, which may even continue a little bit after this to kind of solidify oh, AJ bad, LA Knight good, instead of we're all against Roman Reigns and he's bad. So it's been kind of muddy right now. But yeah,
Yeah,
I definitely think that's gonna be the next thing. It's gonna officially be Dark AJ, like for real, succumb to the dark energies that resides inside of him.
right.
I wonder if that's the immediate plan for AJ and LA Knight.
I think just kind of transitioning into the match itself, I feel like this is kind of like one of those, and I kind of I guess mentioned this earlier, was it felt like a match you would see on TV. Wasn't really anything special. We kind of saw the same old spots we usually see. Of course, we saw Solo come out and make his presence felt. Just kind of overall, it didn't really feel all that special to me.
Yeah, it was just another Roman Reigns title defense. The only reason you wouldn't have seen this on Friday is because Roman's not there
Oh,
usually
yes.
wrestling on Friday.
Right.
So that's the one reason you notice the pay-per-view match, because Roman's actually here. Other than that, yeah, here's the title defense. Solo showed up, did some spikes, and Roman won. I feel like the most exciting spot was Solo going through the barricade and almost obliterating Samantha Irvin.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
And I mean, besides that, it was just oh, everything we expected.
Yeah.
There, that's pretty much was it. I mean, I can't think of. Actually, there is one other thing of this table being extremely sturdy when Randy Orton was backdropping everybody into it, and it just
Oh
didn't
yeah.
break for 3 or 4 times. But
Yeah.
neither of those things is like the match. Is the barricade in the table is like more interesting than these guys are fine. They put on a good match, but it's like we've seen all of this before, so it wasn't like it didn't stand out to me that much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially the solo run in into Roman retaining part. That's just been happening for 643,239 days now. So
Right.
just what else are we gonna see from that?
Right. And then the other thing I was going to say is that, other than the solo run in, there really wasn't all that much storytelling in this match, honestly. We hadn't see uh, too many other types of face offs you know, uh, or anything like that. So, like you said, I just kind of feel like, it may have been a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I was trying to think if we had any like Knight and Styles kind of tension that was notable in the match. I don't
Yeah.
remember if there was a specific moment, but I guess it didn't stick out to me if it was there, but
Yeah.
I could have just forgotten about it once Solo showed up and said it's my time. I'm the tribal
Oh, yeah.
prince. So I mean, yeah, I mean it was okay. It's not like it was a bad match, but it was very, one might say it was mid.
Yeah. Yeah. I would, that's definitely a good word for it.
Definitely a mid card, middle of the show kind of match.
Which is
Um,
something crazy to think about for a heavyweight title match.
yeah, heavyweight title match with the longest reigning champion of the modern era. To just have like it was all right middle of the card match.
Yeah.
Like hell, it might, you know, I mean, if we're ready to move into the next one, it might have even been less interesting than the U.S. title match.
Yeah. 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 At least with this one, you had, it felt like there was a lot more going on here, like you said, because at least with the U.S. title match, you feel like this little feud still has legs to it, right? Like you
Yeah,
could, they feel like this feud may not be over, type of thing.
yeah, yeah. I think it definitely could continue. Oh, Mr. Prime Maverick, fucking whatever himself, Logan Paul.
It's kind of funny that talking about how Logan first won his championship against by beating Ray, and we saw the whole controversy with the brass knuckles. It's kind of funny how they kept that little, brass knucks thing going. And like, I know I'm kind of like skipping ahead to like the end of the match angle, but yeah,
Yeah, at the old Regal knuckle dusters
yeah,
making a little impact there, which is fine. It's fine so far. It's fine to do it twice. Hopefully they get more creative at some point, or else actually just end his title reign and
oh yeah,
whatever. Because and look, I think that it is interesting that a YouTuber can become the U.S. champion in
yes,
the WWE ahead of all these other superstars that have been here for so long.
yeah,
It is certainly a time. However, I don't think that there's a reason to keep this going for very long. At least having him as champion, I know they like selling tickets to these kids with the Prime bottles, so
yeah,
they can keep him around if they want. That's fine, but I think having him as a champion is a little bit much personally.
yeah,
Brass knuckles or not, like hopefully they we reach an end to that. So yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that. I was kind of thinking that that might happen. I was like, man, they probably there's a chance they really want him at WrestleMania. And I don't know if it's going to be still with the champion or just continuing this feud, but
oh,
the conclusion didn't really surprise me,
yeah,
considering Mania's around the corner.
right, right, right. I would say, well, like you said, that's why, like you said, this feud still has legs because they, Logan did win, but he didn't win clean.
Yeah,
Obviously, there's still some, controversy there, which leaves the door open for a continued feud. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's fine. I thought it was just gonna be the hand thing that it was like, oh, he can't wear the hand or the cast, so he's gonna try to break his hand apart, which they did that a little bit, but it was also the brass knuckles too. So then he had to
yeah,
stoop even more lower,
yeah. True, true.
which is fine. Yeah, not a clean win. It's pretty standard heel stuff. I think pretty
Yeah,
standard
true.
heel stuff.
Yeah,
I could say personal opinions aside, but that's not really that's not really the point. You know, this is opinionated podcast right now.
yeah,
So, I will look forward to seeing him lose his title,
yeah.
but I can see why it didn't happen right now.
Right, right. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers this. Then, not too much else really to be said.
No, I guess besides figure out
Oh,
who the
I
hell
totally
this
forgot about whoever this guy is.
yeah, this dude, I think I've seen his face on the internet before. Maybe, I guess he hangs out with Logan Paul. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I just don't know who this guy is.
Yeah, I mean, this was really goofy. Like, I have no idea. Like, because it wasn't like that guy that they had like last year. Like, I think he was WrestleMania last year. I think where he had that dude that was dressed up as the Prime Bottle.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I guess they got to save the mascot costumes for the big show. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
not the
true.
big show, but you know. You know what? While we're talking about this, can I let's do talk about this finish. I was screaming in my head about like, why aren't you hiding the brass knuckles, Kevin? What's going on? Why is he not putting them up? They're still on his knuckles. Is the ref really not going to see that? And then the ref
Yeah,
saw that. Actually, really, I mean, clearly this was the planned finish, right? So obviously they had this camera angle like locked in already, but the refs the refs
the
face they actually got a
like
good
mid
good
count, mid swing. He just like, wait a second. Just
corner of
missing
his
the
eye.
exclamation point over his head. Like what?
Yeah, yeah, that was silly. This is definitely like, I mean, I'm not in it. I didn't go into a Logan Paul match thinking like, oh, this is gonna be a serious affair. So like, it's fine in that context, but it was definitely silly.
Yeah.
And in line with Waller in theory and this other guy from the crowd. Oh, but
Oh, post match
here's
action.
yeah, post match, because I was gonna say this is usually one of those signs that like, oh yeah, we're still going somewhere with this, because he comes back and beats him up or whatever, and was like, we gotta make sure the hero's still on top right now, even though he lost the match
Yeah.
DQ. But hey, we finally broke that damn table.
Yeah.
But that does just leave us with the men's rumble.
Time for the main event. Yeah.
Just as a side note, right now,
Yep.
I think it's worth noting that Samantha Irvin is probably one of my favorite superstars right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. She was getting down on the announcer.
She's an easy top three all time, maybe even higher.
She's definitely the announcer of this generation, at least. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But the men's rumble, eh?
Yeah. And we have to, we see number one, number two. We have to kick it off with Yeet versus No Yeet.
Yeah.
That was really like the big deal and the opening salvo of this match.
Yeah, it was I wasn't sure if they were gonna straight up have them be one and two. Just that's pretty cool. But I saw the little pulling your numbers out the thingy when I saw Jimmy's reaction to getting his number, so I figured he was early. So I was like, oh man, could it be that they're number one and number two? Once I saw that Jay was coming out first,
Yeah,
and lo and behold, there he was. Good reactions from Jay, by the way.
yeah,
I think they're playing this. I mean, obviously, I don't expect anything but for these two to work well together, whether they're on a team or against each other. We got the clear and
and then I think this is going to be a sign of things to come too. So this is what I'm talking about when we'll circle back around to later. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, almost for sure. I feel like this one is almost a I mean, not it's not guaranteed, but I mean, this is one of those ones. It's not even like a. It doesn't even feel like a spoiler. They had them come out 1 and 2 with with their good guy and bad guy outfits on and everything. Like I feel like everybody knows what's coming with these two.
yeah,
But they're only 2 out of 28, so.
yeah, true.
But a good start to the match, though. I did like this.
Yeah,
Uh,
but we all know who came out shortly later. That was a big surprise entrant. The return of Andrade.
that was pretty cool, actually. I'm glad to see Andrade. I was interested to see, what he would be doing. I figured something with the LWO and the other people would and Santos and stuff going on would be where he would end up.
I was kind of hoping that he would have, sidestepped all of that. Not to say that, like, he doesn't have to necessarily, but I was hoping that he would have built up his own unique storyline instead of just getting, slammed into the Hispanic storyline angle with everybody else.
Yeah, yeah, they that is one trend that we are still into, and it's not like whether or not it's like even up to them or not, but you still see like it's the Latinos and all together all the time.
All in the same
And
angle. Yeah.
hey, it's all the black folks. There they are all
All in the same
together.
angle.
Hey, we got it's it the MVP, the Street Profits, Bobby Lashley. Yeah, put them all together. And it's there's a lot of reasons to it. I'm not just saying this to call everybody in creative racist or anything. I'm not saying that they're not racist.
Yeah.
I'm also not saying don't at me. It's better than it used to be. I mean,
Yeah,
we've
definitely.
we've we've come a long way. Oh yeah, I can't forget the obvious one, all the Samoans all together,
Well,
right? Like, you know. So yeah, it's just a thing. It's just a characteristic of this universe. The inner workings of this universe that don't get talked about. Not just like the kayfabe, but like this is just another one of those little intricacies of WWE as a universe, right? Like some
yeah.
some of those things you just have to know about, right? Like when you see the move whiff and they still fall down, it's just like you don't really know until you study the universe like we have that like some moves have some pretty disjointed hitboxes. It just is what it is. Anywho, it would have been interesting. I think eventually he'll be in some other storylines, but seems this is where he'll start once Santos and him start coming down to the ring. But it's
Yeah.
good to see him back, though. It's good to see Andrade back.
Yes, definitely. Ah, yes. Carrion. I wanted to mention this because this was something they did in the Rumble to kind of further his feud with Bobby,
Hmm.
so it was kind of nice to see them trying to, further a feud storyline within the Rumble like that, kind of like the Yeet No Yeet. So I wanted to kind of give that a little bit of a mention too.
I'm glad that they're making him look pretty good right now. But he used to just come out here and not really do anything. So I'm glad he's got something going on right now. And
Oh
I
yeah,
think that he looked pretty strong in this match. TBH.
yeah. I feel like him and his new group was. I feel like I like the way they're, portraying him now versus the way it was before.
Yeah, yeah. So new people to hang out with will help with that for sure.
I guess we also talk about the Judgment Day had a decent presence in the match too.
Yeah, they did. Trying to think of what storyline implications they had from what they were doing in the match. I mean, aside from we officially don't like our truth now.
Yeah, I think that was pretty much it. It was like because I think they're trying to build up some type of feud with Judgment Day with our Truth and the Miz.
That could be pretty cool seeing Awesome Truth get the tag titles again, or at least go for them.
Yeah,
I did have. Did Shinsuke do anything like storyline building in this match? Do you have any?
he
Cause
had a.
he's
I think he had a brief face off with Cody later on
ah
in the match, but I think that was about it.
yeah. Well, that story is finished already. So
Yeah,
we got a little. Did we got some Imperium and New Day stuff in here a little bit too, right? When Kofi and oh, what's his
yeah,
name came out, Kaiser and whoever.
yeah. And I think while we're on that, I think that this is a lot of what's happened in the men's rumble is that they did a lot of face-offs for feuds that were already happening on TV,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
they didn't use this as a chance to set up new feuds, but were really just continuations of or face-offs from either present or past feuds.
Right.
So again, that might be a little bit of a missed opportunity as well.
Yeah, it's definitely different, at least compared to like the women's rumble. There's a lot of new stuff, a lot of returning people, new people,
Yeah,
and it's hard to say like exactly what the fallout is going to be. This
yeah,
was definitely like, ah, here's what's going on. We're continuing these storylines, and there we go.
yeah. Shout out to Bronson Reed over here. He had a pretty decent presence too.
Yeah, I think this might be the one place where there's some new stuff happening because I mean, obviously, before I even get to that, Bronson Reed, he looks good, and I think I always like this just big ass, thick ass dude. Just wish I remember
Oh,
how did Biggie say it? The big meaty men slapping meat or whatever.
yeah,
We'll
that sounds
never
about
get
right.
tired of that. Speaking of our big meaty men, Ivar, he also looks good. I feel like he's in a similar place of Bronson Reed. Actually, he's been in some pretty good matches lately. Actually, they've been making Ivar look pretty good, right?
Yeah,
Much more than when he was just a tag team competitor.
yeah, I would say that because Ivar's had some. He's been feuding a little bit with Bronson, of course,
Mhm.
and he's been feuding with. So he's been having some big meaty men type matches. Like he's been Ivar going up against Bronson, up against who's that? The guy from Alpha Academy, the big
Oh,
dude,
Otis.
Otis. Yeah, so he's been going up against Otis.
Oh
He's
yeah,
oh yeah.
yeah,
Oh, speaking of big men, almost
yeah. The biggest one.
like head and shoulders over everybody else.
But yeah, yeah. This was definitely our big meaty men segment between Bronson and Ivar, uh, Braun, Omos.
Yeah,
Man, I
yeah,
gotta say, Bronson. I haven't seen a lot of him, but he's like a freaking bullet, man.
yeah,
He looked pretty impressive in this match.
yeah,
I I was a fan.
yeah. So this,
Okay.
well, I don't understand. Like, why? Like, why did Pat get entered into the Rumble? And it's almost like he didn't even know that he was in the Rumble.
Maybe someone called in. Like I don't know. This was,
Maybe.
but yeah, I
Yeah.
think hey, maybe this will actually be the next thing because Braun Breaker actually got that elimination on Omos, so maybe they'll start doing something.
Oh yeah.
Oh, how could we have forgotten to talk about our truth first off in the last match, let alone this one?
Oh yeah. That slipped my mind. Yeah. Fact that he ran out during the women's rumble. Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, he our truth. He came out and costed. Well, it's effectively costed. Oh, no shoes. Her rumble little
Yeah.
part right there. He came out and basically costed old JD McDonough his damn place right there.
Oh my goodness.
Our truth. This is why when they had that poll of who had the best comeback between Orton and Punk and Truth. This is why I clicked on our Truth's name on that poll on the little
Yeah.
community tab.
Yeah. On TV they've been still trying to they've been trying to show this whole truth, trying to be part of the Judgment Day thing. And they've been running with that for weeks.
Mm.
You know, it's like, and it's been like a major angle on TV. So I'm like, the only reason I could think of that they won't let this go is that they're trying to really set this up for like a future match. Like,
You know, the thing is, man, based on Twitter, I think it's just a best for business thing because as far as I've heard, this R-Truth's latest set of merch with his name on the bottom of the shirt like that apparently
yeah,
has been like one of their best selling merchandise ever since he's returned. And I think they're just like, yeah, we got to keep this going. This is he was like, oh, R-Truth is like selling more shirts than like Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns and all these other top people.
oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. So I was like, yeah,
Okay,
this is yeah. I mean, hey, truth is money though. I mean, he deserves to be holding some gold right now. To be honest, the R-Truth hot tag might be like one of the highlights of this whole match.
yeah, yeah. He tagged himself into the Rumble.
Yeah, yeah. Whatever gives me more R-Truth on the TV, I'm down.
Yeah, yeah. Ah, yes. The next one to start looking at CM Punk.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about what to think about Punk because I feel like it was good to see him in the Rumble, but at the same time he kind of was looking kind of tired out there too.
Yeah. Um that is also true.
Yeah.
It kind of looked like it had been 10 years, even though he was obviously he did some other stuff while he was gone. But now this is getting ahead a little bit. After watching Raw, I'm kind of wondering perhaps at some point, I don't know where in this event that it happened, going ahead to the injury,
Oh yeah.
you know, at where in the match that happened, that's why he was moving, you know, less intensely at some point.
Well, yeah. If he had gotten injured early, then that would explain a lot.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't broken this down and been like, oh, there's the move that did it, that or whatever. So who knows?
Yeah.
Someone does, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, at least give a pass for that. But yeah, he definitely wasn't like looking like crazy out there, especially after watching some of these people go around looking like moving like freight trains and going crazy, and you know, Ricochet coming out right there and doing all the flips and spots and stuff. And you know, it's nice to have a, I mean, not, I mean, he didn't win obviously, but it's also, I don't think this was a poor Ricochet moment either. You know, it's nice to not have to say that
Oh
whenever he
yeah.
shows up.
Yeah, that's true.
No one was expecting him to win,
Yeah.
so it's fine enough that he came in late, had a good little showing, and then hey, you know, I'll take that.
Yeah, definitely.
And Sami Zayn.
Yeah. Sami Zayn back.
But it's like the one kind of like new thing of this match, like the major new addition, since a lot of these storylines were just already happening.
Yeah.
I mean, since he came in at number 30, there's not that much, you know, stuff in the ring that happened once he got there. The match was mostly over, and he also didn't win. So, you know, it's only so much to talk about as far as in this match, but definitely one of the people who I have stuff looking forward to.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Drew, speaking of which, I mean, he's got more stuff to do also. I don't know. Well, I guess he could still be looking at the title match. I was going to say, yeah, he clearly isn't in, he didn't win the Rumble, so he's not like he's about to be in a title picture, but then again, that doesn't really mean anything cuz they've got a whole elimination chamber coming up.
That's
So,
true. The thing about Drew, though, is that he's been desperately trying to win the championship for months. I mean, he's lost to Seth Rollins like multiple times going into this, coming into this event. You know, he's been, just coming up short time and again and time and again. It's like it's just kind of crazy to see him try to get the championship match after all this time. Like he's had many chances already.
but you know, despite everything, I actually have been kind of enjoying what Drew's been up to, even though he's been losing a lot. I think generally I like his character right now. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm glad he's got like some his he's showing his personality or some character a little bit here.
Okay. Final four. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, McIntyre, Gunther, Punk, Rhodes.
This is a solid Final Four, especially when you think about, Cody and Gunther were Final Two last year, and they both made it back to the Final Four this year. So
Yeah,
that's a pretty crazy run back.
yeah. It's pretty cool to see like the kind of consistency of some of what these superstars have been doing over the last year or so.
Yeah,
This kind of consistency that we have right here is not something that I'm always expecting to see,
right.
because there's been lots of eras that we've had where the landscape changes month to month, titles get traded around every couple of pay-per-views or every couple of weeks even sometimes.
Yeah,
So it's nice that we got a consistent roster here and still a lot more people underneath the top of the card that are also really good. Because as much as we could talk about top four, I mean we could also have as much to say about top eight and all the rest of the match too. So
yeah, true.
um yeah, I think this is a very strong sign for the state of the talent right now.
Yeah. Oh, I guess this would be a nice time to comment on what I teased earlier,
Yeah.
which is during the intro, which was my theory about the Rumble match. Just to kind of take it back a little bit, you remember after CM Punk first returned at War Games, right?
Yeah.
And you remember how Seth Rollins was like, all like flabbergasted and all upset about
Yeah.
it.
Right.
So I don't know if you actually saw it, but one of CM Punk's first promos to CM Punk was how he was supposed to be trying to protect the WWE universe from Punk. How he was like basically characterized as like some cancer to the WWE, and that he was going to be the one to take him out and protect everybody else from the big bad Punk, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of my theories was is that Seth Rollins would have gotten involved in the Rumble match to try to eliminate Punk.
Oh.
It didn't end up happening, but that was one of the things I was thinking about is something that they could have had an opportunity to do, especially if they were really trying to allude to a Punk Rollins feud.
Yeah.
But this is all before, he ended up getting injured and everything. So
Yeah, true. But I think I probably would have expected like Roman or Solo to have done something sneaky like that, because obviously Seth is like the face champion right now, so I can see why he didn't have like a kind of a dastardly run-in type of thing. But I'm not really surprised, but I could have seen Roman, or he sent Solo in there to spike Cody Rhodes or something and throw him over.
yeah.
But I'm also glad that didn't happen, because damn it, we got to finish some story around here. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. We got that, and then we had our elimination. Obviously, we came down to the last two of Punk and Cody, which and I think at this point, this is a fine last two
Yeah.
kind of thing right here. It didn't quite, like, if I just had to compare this to Cody and Gunther last year, I would put that over this, but it was still fine. But
Yeah.
in the context of wrestling through an injury, is does kind of change the perspective on looking back at it.
Yeah.
Either way, it was still fine, and we got to have a little. I'm not didn't wait 10 years to lose to Dusty's kid, and cool little moments in there like that. So we still had a pretty good finish here, and
Yeah.
it was still unpredictable to this point, because even though, like, well, I think these two being the last two, kind of predictable, but who was going to win from here? I still didn't have a solid, like, oh yeah, I know which one of them is going to be the one at this point, because it's like unlikely in the grand scheme of things to see a back-to-back Rumble winner.
Yeah,
Just
that's true. I feel like since they didn't give it to Cody last year, and he got this far into the Rumble, that I found it hard to believe that even with everything going on with Punk right now, that they wouldn't have given Cody the win here. To take it away from him twice, that'd be kind of weird.
yeah, I mean, it would have been. Now all they've got to do, because we've made it this far before, is do the right thing at WrestleMania, got a
Yeah.
second chance. You don't always get those,
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
and we've just got one more step to take, and I'm sure they can do it.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll kind of touch on that in a little bit more detail as we move into the next section. But yeah, I would say overall we would say that it was a pretty good men's rumble match.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty good. I liked it. Honestly.
And
It was
Cody definitely deserved the win. Yeah.
yeah, no, yeah, that was. I mean, we had a good winner, a good finish. You know, it was solid. There was no like major missteps or anything.
Yep.
Oh, also, side note, I didn't even notice that on the at the time. Punk specifically getting the elimination on Drew.
And not only that, but that kind of sets up for a future feud too.
Yeah.
Now that we've gone through all the matches, what would be your pick for match of the night?
Alrighty. So as far as match of the night, for me, match of the night, I think the top match tonight, the Women's Rumble.
I concur. I believe it is also the women's rumble. And I'm not throwing shade at the men's rumble, but I feel like the women just they had the better moments for me. Yeah.
Yeah, if it wasn't obvious, and like let me just say, this is the era of women's wrestling for me. I'm just gonna, no shame, love strong women. We've got so many in the roster right now.
Yes.
Nothing against the people who came up in the prior eras, the divas era and whatever. And there's strong people throughout a lot of women's wrestling history through the ups and downs, but right now,
Oh yeah.
lots of strong, muscular women out there. Hell, we've got Naomi just came back. I love the Kabuki Warriors. I like Bailey.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I didn't always say that I like Naya. I mean, she's getting boos, like she's getting almost some Dominic level boos right now, which is much
Yeah.
better than people just not caring. Uh,
Yeah.
and I definitely have had my moments with her where I just didn't care,
Yeah.
and it's not like that right now. So I'm really into it. I think the roster and the stories that came out of that match is just a notch above what happened in the men's match. Men's match was good, a close second. Sure, it was
Yeah.
fine. But it's just a little bit less interesting. But not like by a great amount. And then bottom two obviously were these two matches in the middle, and I think because I was expecting goofy and got goofy, and like I'm less like disappointed by this match. Like the only negative is like, oh, I want to see Logan lose that title and he didn't, so fine, I guess. But
Right.
this one was like I could have gotten a lot more out of a match like this. It's like it's Roman. We could have had, the Rock came back and they teased him and he's like, I'm gonna be the should I sit at the head of the table if you smell, and nothing happened with that, and they just had a regular old match. There was some decent spots, but like it's just at the end of the day another solo run in into Roman defense.
Yeah.
So I mean I think that's literally my least favorite match of the night, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say so. And I think the biggest waste of it all was that they didn't do anything post match. They had the opportunity to and didn't do it. Yeah.
Well, then, given all that, then I guess I'll let you give the first one of the overall show, I guess, of the Royal Rumble grade.
I would say solid 7.5 out of 10, maybe 8, somewhere in there. 7.5 to 8, maybe.
Right on. Kind of a B plus kind of show.
Yes.
3.5 out of 5. We'll just say it's a B plus kind of show, not an A. But the
Not bad.
ups were better than the downs.
Yeah, but there were some downs and I believe some missed opportunities that kept it out of the A range.
But yeah, overall it's good. I enjoyed it though.
Yeah, definitely an enjoyable show. Yeah.